Chapter 1066. Miniature Universe Translator. Myoibo Studio Editor. Myoibo Studio Luo Feng knew that if he wanted to succeed, he needed to start from the Beast God sector. He was aware that since Teacher Sitting Mountain Guest had paid a hefty price for him to enter this place, there must be something very beneficial for him in this Beast God sector. Therefore, Luo Feng started looking around the Beast God sector again, this time doing so very conscientiously and meticulously. Firstly, on one of the vast plains, he found some technique sculptures where he acquired two types of amplification techniques. One was a soul amplification technique known as 9-peak lock. When mastered to perfection, it could bring about a soul amplification of 99.99, which could basically be considered 100 times. The other was a godly body amplification technique called Golden Beast God. When mastered to perfection, the amplification could reach 100 times. Initially, Luo Feng thought it would be very difficult for him to master these techniques. He did not expect to be able to master Golden Beast God from beginning to the end without faltering. It only took him 3 days to master the technique to perfection. Whether it was his Mosha body, original Earthling body, remote ocean body, or golden horned beast body, all of these could put this godly body amplification technique to good use. 9-peak lock was about mastering the ultimate control of blurring godly power. It had extremely high requirements of the will and consciousness. However, Luo Feng's will and consciousness were already at a universe overlord's standard. As universe overlords were almost perfect in terms of soul amplification, it would be a piece of cake for Luo Feng to master this technique. Within just 1 month, he mastered 9-peak lock to perfection. My blurred godly power, my will, and my consciousness are all of universe overlord standard, so mastering this technique was a breeze, Luo Feng said to himself. This was how capability played a part in determining the level of difficulty of mastering techniques. Out of thousands of undying emperors, it was unlikely that even one could have mastered 9-peak lock to pristine perfection. Mastering Golden Beast God took Luo Feng less than a month to master. Thereafter, he continued to look around the entire Beast God sector. In the Beast God sector, there were 64 Beast God sculptures. There were 8 natural Beast Gods, each of which had 8 sculptures. There were tens of thousands of secret techniques, 36 ultimate techniques of Universe Masters, 123 pinnacle techniques of Universe Masters, over 3,000 ultimate techniques of Universe Knights, and tens of thousands of pinnacle techniques of Universe Knights. There was also a large volume of informal lore engravings. These informal secret techniques were mostly incomprehensible. Only the thickest and thinnest engravings could be somewhat understood. After researching these techniques for over half a year, Luo Feng came to one of the Golden Beast God sculptures. Raising his head, he scrutinized the sculpture. These techniques are useless to me, he concluded. These were created by other great beings. Even if I were to learn them, they would still be better suited to others. In my hands, the powers will be much weaker. Luo Feng gazed at the Beast God sculpture. Many of the techniques I have come across mention that one must be able to comprehend these Beast God sculptures to gain understanding. Even universe masters are trying to comprehend these Beast God sculptures. In the entirety of the Beast God sector, the most precious elements are these 64 Beast God sculptures. Luo Feng studied on ******** in the Beast God sector, at the apex of one of its mountains. Ancestor stood in a casual manner, overlooking the vast forest afar. His eyes came to rest on Luo Feng, who stood before the golden beast god sculpture. You have actually stood before that golden beast sculpture for more than 3 years, whispered Ancestor. Seems like you have come to realize that these beast god sculptures are my sector's most precious possessions. That's right. All the extraordinary geniuses and superior beings that qualified to be part of my Space Beast Alliance realize that these beast god sculptures are the key. There were many who could realize this. However, those who were able to figure out the secret technique, especially to figure out the able to understand the ultimate secret technique of a universe master level, were all universe masters. Ancestor was carefree and at ease. He knew that there were many techniques in the Beast God sector that seemed precious but were actually worth little. The 64 Beast God sculptures were the true treasures that were priceless. Luo Feng stood before the 8 sculptures of the Golden Beast God. Time spent on each sculpture varied. For the shorter periods, he could spend a year or more gaining understanding. For the longer periods, he could spend up to 8 years gaining understanding. As for the Thunder Beast God, Light Beast God, and the other Beast God sculptures, he spent a much shorter time trying to comprehend them, as ultimately, he would not be traversing along the Beast God path. The 64 Beast God sculptures took him a total of 52 years to study. The more I look, the more I feel that these are perfect. The Golden Beast God and the 8 sculptures. Luo Feng felt that, after looking at these 8 sculptures of the Golden Beast God, he could feel its anger, happiness, tranquility, rage, insanity. All kinds of situations were made familiar to him. Closing his eyes, he felt as though he was looking at the real Golden Beast God. The lack of one sculpture would render everything incomplete. Luo Feng decided with a slight nod. For any great being, just by looking at the 64 sculptures, there would be a feeling of merging as one with the sculptures. The secret engravings representing the universe path on these 64 sculptures made him feel as though he were becoming one with the sculptures. They could constitute a complete set of super techniques. They evoked the feeling of singularity. Every great being that has come to the Beast God sector of the Space Beast Alliance could have been able to feel this, mused Luo Feng, but no one can really figure out the ultimate secret technique. Because out of the most powerful 36 types of universe ultimate techniques, some must be acquired through understanding the Golden Beast God, some must be acquired through understanding the Thunder Beast God, and occasionally, one must be able to gain the understanding of 2 beast gods put together. Judging from the power these different technique engravings left behind, they all seem to match each other in strength. Obviously, the level of each technique would be similar. By combining all 8 beast god sculptures to create a super secret technique, this technique should outmatch all the others. After acquiring 2 amplification techniques and studying the beast god sculptures, Luo Feng started to study himself as the subject. I must succeed, he said. First, I have to depend on the beast god sector. Second, I must be different from the rest. Third, I need time. I have studied and now understand the beast god sector thoroughly. As for me, to be considered truly different from the rest, I need something that even generations of supreme beings of the Space Beast Alliance, apart from Ancestor, would not be able to compare to. That could be the 9-volume manual, Star Tower, the Talent Technique, I Am the Universe, or my endless remote ocean. Luo Feng analyzed his options. The 9-volume manual was one of a kind in the universe. Star Tower was one of the supreme true treasures of the universe. Other than Ancestor, the chances of other beings in the Space Beast Alliance possessing supreme true treasures were very low. Or at least, there were none that Luo Feng knew of. The talent technique I Am the Universe had been bestowed by the universe for reaching the perfect life gene level. It could be assumed that many special life forms who were powerful and unique might only have reached a life gene level of thousands of times. Those close to tens of thousands of times were a rare sight, let alone those who had attained perfection. Space beasts were not special life forms. Unless they possessed techniques such as the 9-volume manual, they would never be able to make it this far. The endless remote ocean represented limitless godly power. What a pity that he was in another universe. There was no way he could absorb godly power from the endless remote ocean. ********* in the primal universe, Luo Feng's original Earthling body headed first to Star Tower to study the secret engravings in the sculptures on the countless stars and sky pillars. Unfortunately, these were more profound than the ultimate techniques of the Universe Masters on the Beast God sector. He could not figure them out. Then he placed the contents of the 9-volume manual under scrutiny and studied them with detail. This was a technique solely used for enhancing one's life gene level. In terms of depth, it was comparable to the secret engravings on the Star Tower, which was far more profound than the ultimate techniques of Universe Masters. Similarly, he could not comprehend the profound knowledge, so he could only train in a methodical manner. As for putting his talent technique I Am the Universe to use, Luo Feng and his other bodies were unable to use it unless enemies entered his god country. Only then would the endless remote ocean within his god country enable him to use I Am the Universe talent technique. I Am the Universe. Hong. Long. Long. At that moment, the endless godly power of ocean water went ablaze to produce limitless energy. In the sky above the endless remote ocean, a huge oval-shaped sphere with a diameter of tens of billions of miles appeared. It was a miniature universe. A universe, said Luo Feng. A miniature universe. Luo Feng used his consciousness to enter the miniature universe. He was filled with overwhelming excitement. Since the day he first acquired I Am the Universe, this was his first time using it. According to what was imprinted on his consciousness, when this incomparably magical talent technique was activated, the rate at which his godly power was used up would be alarming. It was almost as though once activated, the godly power of a golden-horned beast's godly body would be completely consumed. Luckily for him, his endless remote ocean was extensive enough. A miniature universe. This vast universe, with a diameter of tens of billions of miles, could contain anything. Within it was only vast nothingness. There was a subtle, chaotic airflow. This miniature universe was none other than Luo Feng himself. "How magical," he said in wonder. "Absolute control. Absolute control." The moment he transformed into this miniature universe, Luo Feng grasped the full understanding of his powers. He could divide out part of his godly body in this universe to fight his enemies, and in his own miniature universe, he could transfer the oppression from the outside into the miniature universe. His power would then be greatly increased while his opponent faced stronger suppression. This was merely one of the attached abilities. The strongest one was explosion of universe. Luo Feng could not help marveling. He only needed one thought to activate the explosion of universe, during which his miniature universe would collapse. The magnitude of this power was unbelievable. "What a transcendental technique," said Luo Feng. "To think that I possess such a powerful talent. Technique and can transform into a miniature universe." Luo Feng could not help but marvel. At the same time, his consciousness had started to study his miniature universe attentively. On the thin membrane encompassing the huge oval-shaped sphere, boundless energy took the form of numerous law threads interlacing with one another to form an enormous picture of law engravings that was continuously undergoing transformation into a chaotic airflow. This chaotic airflow then circulated around the enormous picture of secret engravings and coagulated to form the membrane around the miniature universe. The remainder of the airflow would then waft off into the atmosphere and eventually diminish the enormous picture of law engravings. This was the basis for how Luo Feng could display his talent technique. But he was completely clueless, as this was the first time he had laid eyes on this picture of law engravings. The picture of the law engravings transformed into an oval-shaped sphere formed by millions upon millions of law threads interlacing with one another. It was inconceivably complicated, forming the law of revolution of this miniature universe. And the amount of godly power that Luo Feng used would be used to supply this entire miniature universe with energy. Technically speaking, it was not a real universe. In a real universe, energy was recyclable and should be inexhaustible. But Luo Feng's energy was continuously used up. Obviously, this picture of law engravings was an extremely simplified version of the primal picture of engravings, which was the truest law of revolution of the primal universe. Yet, even so, it was impressive enough to render Luo Feng tongue-tied. "It's too, but Luo Feng couldn't complete his thought. He was completely taken aback by this picture of engravings. Its beauty was astounding, more astounding than any other ultimate techniques. It was even more beautiful than the secret engravings on the numerous beast god sculptures.